What's up, gamers? How you doing? It's John. Welcome to my NEStalgiaholic channel. In this video, I'll be taking a closer look at a classic gaming magazine. This is from August 1994. This is Volume 7, Issue 8, number 8 in the series, and this is called Game Players, the magazine itself. Game Players was a publication that came out in North America. I believe the first one came out in 1989, and then it lasted to about 98. So it lasted about 10 years. This one features, of course, Maximum Carnage, which is one of my favorite Genesis games. Also, it's part of the Super Nintendo as well. I prefer the Genesis port. It's debatable. Some people prefer the NES port. But the publication itself reminds me a lot of GamePro magazine. If you've ever seen GamePro, we're going to take a closer look at each page and kind of go through it together. Let me know if there's some games. I love the ads. I love going through these classic gaming magazines together because it's cool. You see some classic ads and games that, like, oh, I remember that game. So let's take a closer look at it together, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, thank you for subscribing. Let's take a closer look. Okay, here's a closer look at Game Players magazine. This is, as I mentioned before, Volume 7, Issue 8, August 1994. And in the back, you have Marco, which is a game from Domark. To be honest with you, I don't remember this game ever coming out. Let me know if that rings a bell for you. Virtual Racing, awesome. And then, of course, Maximum Carnage, which is the primary feature. We have The Death and Return of Superman, which is a great beat-em-up as well. Role-playing extravaganza, Shining Force 2, Phantasy Star 4, and then plus 5 more. Okay, so let's check it out. One thing cool about Game Players magazine was they covered games from multiple systems, right? Handheld systems. Unlike Nintendo Power, just focused on Nintendo products. This focus on everything from Sega, etc. So these ads are so funny. This is a Super Nintendo ad for a stunt racer. You get this, looks like school lunch. Pretty wild. Table of contents, of course. Just like Jungle Book, Virtual Racing, World Series Baseball. What's hot? We got the Sega CD, or this 32X. The next thing, it's a 32X, which is kind of a short-lived unit, right, for the Genesis. Penn and Teller, what these are some people writing in. More about the 32X, right? The different specs, the CPU, golf games. Here's some NBA Jam software, top 10 list, Mortal Kombat CD, NBA Jam, Super Metroid. I guess these are top 10 lists of every game, not just 32X. World Series Baseball, NBA Jam, listed twice. So I guess we have one for the Super Nintendo and the Genesis number 2 spot. Ultima, False Prophet, Tomcat Alley for the Sega CD, King Griffey Jr. Major League Baseball. I definitely remember that. NBA Action in 94, Caesar's Palace. So I'm kind of surprised at all the sports titles that are on the top 10. Taz Escape from Mars, fun game for the Genesis. Breath of Fire for the Super Nintendo. Great game. I love the artwork here as well. It looks like a comic. Spike McFang. Don't remember that game. Here is Bubba and Sticks, Bubblicious. It's a game based on some gum for the Genesis. Funny, I don't ever recall that game ever coming out. Pretty well tie-in. Here, Seventh Guest. I definitely remember this one. This is a CDI ad. I definitely have that. I remember specifically for the PC as well. This is a CDI ad. It took a good use of like full motion capture. The Road to Maximum Carnage. I almost said Mortal Kombat. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It is kind of like that. It has a feel for like a beat 'em up. Coming soon. You got The Mask. Here is Beauty and the Beast for the Super Nintendo. Here's some trivia for Green Jelly. The band itself kind of played cover music in the game. Little Big League was a base movie come out. It's an ad. Shaq Fu. Okay, we're going to skip this one because that game was a terrible fighting game. But look how skinny Shaq looks in that. So funny. Contra Hardcore. Phantasy Star. Here's Interactor. Not quite sure what that did. Virtual Reality Gameware coming September 5th. This is when virtual reality was supposed to be the next big thing. The Virtual Boy was coming out the year after this, 95. Clay Fighter. Sega gets into the Game Gear. Balls, which is a fighting game. And then this is NFL 95 for the Genesis. Genesis had really good sports games. I think better so than the Super Nintendo, in my opinion. Itchin' Scratchy, came out for Super Nintendo and some other, I think, Genesis as well. Super Drop Zone, Soulstar. Some info, publisher, developer. R-Type 3, Starfleet Academy, which is a Star Trek game for the Super Nintendo. Free video magazine. So this is kind of where you, I don't know, you force free CDs every year. I don't know. That's interesting. Revengers of Vengeance for this Sega CD. I can't say I ever played it. It looks like a fighter. Suzuki 8 Hours. It's a racing game for the Super Nintendo by Namco. These are the Meet the Team. So games. This magazine is very similar to GamePro. Maximum Carnage, more additional information, different characters. This really followed the comic book. Death and Return of Superman, same as well. Great beat 'em up. You play as different Supermans. Adds Founding Values. Ad for the Game Gear. Illusions of Gaia. Great RPG for the Super Nintendo. Shining Force. Another great RPG. Outrunners, which is kind of I guess it's a part of the Outrun series. Technically, it's a racing game for the Genesis. You can play split 2-player. Rebel Assault, which was for the Sega CD, it ported over from the PC, of course, at the time. And a really fun, interesting Star Wars game. Clay Fighters Tournament Edition, another fighting game. Meet Your Soul Survivor. This is, what game is this? Mansion of Hidden Souls. It's like a full motion video. Bubba and Sticks, Genesis game. Oh, it looks got good graphics and control replay. 77%, got good reviews. I'm gonna have to check it out. Looks like a platformer. Almost reminds me of like Earthworm Jim a little bit. Kind of random. Breath of Fire. 87%. You get 87% overall for Super Nintendo for an RPG. I think Super Nintendo, like Sports House, were to Genesis as RPGs were to Super Nintendo. They just killed it. Brain Lord, the RPG for the Super Nintendo. World Heroes 2. I have not played Brain Lord. Let me know if you guys have played it. World Heroes 2. Here is another game. It's hard to find these titles on these ads. I don't know how you pronounce that. It's by Working Design, so it's got to be a great game because they did really good games. Eye of the Beholder. All these are habit forming, but only one won't give you zits. So it's a promotion for Genesis. Fatal Fury 2, a lot of fighting games, a lot of RPGs, a lot of sports titles. It's kind of popular games back in the mid-90s. You can subscribe here. Come join us. 12 issues. How much did it cost? Usually it was like $12, super cheap. $25, 12 issues. So basically $2 an issue. Super cheap, which things are that cheap nowadays. Get in the game, subscribers. Keep going here. Rebel Assault, more information about that for the Sega CD. They gave it a 72%. Graphics, they gave it 8. I'm not sure if I'd give this game great graphics. It's got some full motion video in it, capture, but audio is definitely good. Music, sound effects was decent. For sure, they gave it a 9. Mickey's Ultimate Challenge for the Genesis. Or no, this one's for Super Nintendo. A lot of Mickey games came out for the Genesis Game Gear, but this one's Super Nintendo. Rocco's Modern Life, great platformer for the Super Nintendo. Gave it 83. They're pretty generous with these ratings. They were hard on Alfred's Chicken, though. Gave it a 64%. That's for the NES. This game got 76%. Can't even read that. What game is it? Don't even know the name of the game. Hard to read the name. GP Sports. Baseball. NBA. Here's different record breakers. Brutal Paws of Fury for the Genesis. Game 27407 players. This is different information about Hidden Souls and different tips and tricks about different games, I guess. Game Boy, Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening for the Game Boy. I always wondered how they captured the Game Boy screens like that. Dune for the Sega Genesis. There's a new Dune game movie coming out. I saw one. Jungle Book for the Genesis. Great game. And Aladdin's probably one of my favorite games. There's also Jungle Book, and there's Lion King, which is also really good. They just really did a good job. Jungle Book for the Super Nintendo. Virtual Racing, I remember when this game came out for the Genesis, it was a huge deal. There was a special chip. Really good port from the arcade to the Genesis. Pretty amazing. What did they give it? Did they rate it, or is this more of a preview to come? It looks like it's just coming out, so they didn't really rate it yet. Streets of Rage 3, gonna bust you up. Something I remember about Virtual Racing for the Genesis, it was like longer, it was a bigger cart. Feel Fury. Heart Attack. This is Heart of the Alien. So this is Flashback, right? I think this game's Flashback. We're Out of This World. Really interesting motion in this game. It was pretty cool. And these are some ads of like different games, like where you can purchase them. I remember these are ads. You can order them. The resale value, Mortal Kombat t-shirt, special offer. That's cool. Video Game Network, low prices. Here's some more ads for games. You can order online before internet, really, you can call them. Anyway, that's issue number 7, issue 8, volume 7. Volume 7, issue 8, rather. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate you guys subscribing, leaving a comment. Let me know what you guys think. And let me know if you remember this issue or remember this particular publication. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. Game on.